Everyone from Redick, who's flat out calling players out and calling out their defense, even saying that it probably can't get better at this point, likely hinting at their current personnel and what they have to work with. No matter what defensive scheme they try and no matter what they do on defense, they're never going to be a good defense with this current group, unfortunately. Or even with guys like Marcus Smart being very blunt post-game lately, talking about their defense and their lack of effort on defense. It's not been anywhere near good enough, and here's what both Redick and Marcus Smart had to say regarding it.
You know, overall, the sort of execution, you know, it's when your margin for error is not super high, you need to be able to, it's like very detailed to be able to execute. And when we do it, you know, we can string together some good defensive possessions. We didn't do that at all tonight. And, you know, we tried zone. They got a layup and an open three. I don't know why we were guarding Mark Williams at the three-point line when they got the three and didn't get the ball iced in pick and roll. On the second possession of zone, they got middle, didn't go under. They got a layup. So it's like, again, you don't do the things, you know, we're trying to do to sort of protect and keep the ball on the side, then you get exploited. And you know, I think we've had some games where we did things well, but I think, you know, the theme with our team again is like these young teams that move, we just can't move. So it's like we're stuck in mud. Zone didn't work, and then we went to a 15 in the second half, 1 through 5 switching, that didn't work. So at that point, you're out of options.
How much of that is like the conscious decision to make the choice versus just sort of like, this is who I am as a player, and I always make like the choice to play hard? Like, is there a difference between a team where you have to remind to be physical, to play hard, to play with intention, versus guys maybe like Phoenix? They have certain players, like I think a Goody, for instance, is like a guy who just, that's how he plays.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Does this group have enough as currently constructed of guys who just like play that way? And
no.
To Dan's question, he was asking about just the effort. Is it more concerning when those choices, to your point, you said choices, when those choices just aren't being made consistently, like that?
It's not concerning. It's just, again, that's why I said it's the hard choice, and it's not the easy choice. It's human nature. We all do it. We do it on a daily basis. We make easy choices because it's comfortable. Comfortable doesn't win.
Dave asked about the ball containment. I was wondering more so about the off ball or even the help defense. How would you evaluate, not just tonight, but overall where you guys are at in terms of that area of defense, helping not just the initial help, but also helping the helper? It seemed like tonight.
Well, we had a guy the other day who hasn't played a lot who didn't know what a flood was in the middle of a game. So we're clearly, you know, when we're not healthy and we haven't been healthy, we clearly have some room to grow in that area.
JJ was talking about how in a game there's always going to be like, you know, 100 different kind of decision moments, and a lot of those decisions are hard decisions you have to make to, you know, make the second effort to rotate over. How do you think this team is doing at like confronting and facing some of those hard choices?
We're doing shit. We're being real shitty right now, and it's showing. But like I said, it's our turn. Every team goes through it, trying to figure it out. You know, you just pray that, you know, it happens early and we can fix it before it's too late. But yeah, there's really no defense, no scheme we can do when we're giving up offensive rebounds in crucial moments like we are, or, you know, guys that, you know, getting wherever they want on the court. And, you know, there's no help, there's no resistance, there's no urgency. So, you know, it's tough. And JJ's right. There's really nothing he can do. It's on us, you know. We appreciate the coaches for everything they do, but it's on us when it comes down ultimately. We got to figure it out.
Again, they did not hold back, and I do not blame them one bit. You know, Redick doesn't want to outright blame a player and isn't going to call anyone out by name, as it's pretty much the entire team apart from a few individuals game by game. But it's simply not something that he can fix at this point. Yes, Marcus Smart talked about it too, talking about their lack of effort on defense and saying everything but they don't have enough defensive-minded players, no matter if he talks to them post-game or even calls players out directly, which he also hinted at. It's simply not enough for their team. I mean, pointing to their individual defensive ratings per defensive box plus minus rating, which is by no means a perfect stat, but it does kind of show this by example. Right now, they only have 2 players in their entire team with a positive defensive BPM rating, including only Luka Doncic, who has benefited from not playing in their past 2 games, and then Jared Vanderbilt with a plus 0.1 defensive BPM. Or if you would instead prefer defensive BPM, which I personally do prefer, only 4 guys with a positive defensive BPM, including Jared Vanderbilt, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia, who just barely make the cut apart from Marcus Smart. I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm entirely surprised by it. I talked about this early on that I don't think they're going to be, or have the ability to be a good defensive team. Even at the start, I said that their ceiling is probably a top 15 to maybe a top 12 defense at the very best, and if they'd all stay healthy, which unfortunately has not been the case for them. But I didn't think they would be a bottom 5 defense at this point, even in spite of a 19-9 record and a terrific offense when Luka Doncic plays and, when he leads their offense too. It's been even worse than I thought. I mean, they actually gave us some pretty good signs early on, being a top 15 defense until roughly mid-November. Even apart from that, we're actually a very good transition defense, and no, I'm not joking about that. Up until November 17th, right before LeBron came back, and no, I'm not directly blaming him for this, it simply kind of correlated with their defense going downhill and their entire team not playing well on defense. They were actually a top 7 defensive team in transition, only giving up 14.1 points per game to their opponent on the fast break. But since November 18th, they're now a bottom 2 transition defense, now giving up 17.4 fast break points per game to their opponent, which is not good and really a telltale sign of their effort on defense, their ability to get their defense set up and simply get back on defense too. It's gone dramatically downhill since that point. And well, to then add even more fuel to that fire, not only are they a terrible transition defense, giving up over 17 fast break points per game in transition, but they're also a terrible half-court defense, and in the worst spot possible too, defending the 3-point line. Throughout their past 10 games, the Lakers are the worst team in the entire NBA at defending the 3-point line, currently giving up 16 3-point shots per game to their opponent in their past 10, which is absolutely terrible and the worst in the NBA in that time frame, tied with the Washington Wizards. Not only that, but giving up the worst 3-point percentage in the entire NBA in that time frame too, as their opponents are shooting 43% on 3-point shots against them in their past 10 games. By far the worst in the NBA and nearly 3% worse than any other team, which is kind of hard to believe, but they've somehow found a way to do it. They're a terrible transition defense, they're a terrible half-court defense at pretty much all facets, but especially at the 3-point line. They're not giving effort on defense, they're not getting their defense set up, and it's simply a combination of stuff that you can't overcome. No matter how good your offense is, no matter how much offensive talent you have, and no matter what kind of defensive scheme you come up with, it's not going to work, and it hasn't worked for them either. And well, like I said before, I think that JJ Redick not only sees this and is kind of hinting at it, but is kind of silently asking Rob Pelinka to make a change for him too. I mean, we've heard what he says in the press conference and everything but directly calls out their team on defense and individual players on defense too, but he's also accepting the fact that this team can't be a good defense. So again, he's pretty much asking for more help on defense, asking for more defensive-minded players and preferably two-way players, guys that not only help on defense like a Jared Vanderbilt for example, he's very defense-minded but a borderline offensive liability. He wants guys that help on defense but while at the same time helping on offense and are not offensive liabilities, aka legitimate two-way players, something their team has very little of if pretty much any of. Maybe Jake LaRavia, I would say that he is a two-way player if his 3-point shot fell a bit more consistently. Sometimes Marcus Smart, when his 3-point shot's falling and he's not taking low IQ shots. Maybe those two, but that's pretty much it. Apart from them, they lack any kind of two-way talent and any consistent two-way talent, which they definitely do need to address, hopefully sooner rather than later too. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching, and have a great day or night.